Alright, I'm going to be giving my impressions of the Element DBAL D2 as far as overall quality and usability as a very cheap IR laser illuminator. This was about 60 bucks off eBay. It's a Chinese knockoff of the actual D-ball, which is around 1,200 bucks for the D2, that is. First off, I wanted to note on how huge this thing is. I did not expect it to be quite this big. If you can see that it covers up 2/3 of my scope. If I had a really high scope mount, I could get over it, but this just was way more than I was expecting size-wise. It is a serious chunk. This device does come with a tape switch, which I mounted over here next to my white light tape switch. I like the tape switch pretty well. If you click it twice really fast, it stays constant on, otherwise it's just momentary. This unit has an IR filter that it comes with that you cover up the white light with, because it's not a true IR illuminator. You just have to put the filter over the IR illuminator. Alright, let's take this thing off the rifle so you can get a closer look. You detach it with an Allen key, which it comes with. Some of them, I believe, come with like a quick detach mount, but this is just the basic model at 60 bucks. I think the ones with the cutie mount were like 70 or so, which I didn't care for. The tape switch is just the same as most of the cheap China PEX, just like an aux cord looking type plug. So as you can see, it's just a piece of rail attachment screwed onto the bottom of this unit. The unit itself is pretty dense plastic. This thing feels pretty hefty. It doesn't feel flimsy. Here you can see the top is the red laser aperture and the bottom is the IR. And this is the light, which is a white light, like I said, but it's just covered with a IR filter. It takes one CR123 battery that sits in here. This button can operate it also, which is not momentary. It's just click on, click off type thing. It also has this little green indicator light to let you know when the unit is on. So if you're running an IR and you don't have nods on, you'll be able to tell if you have it on, which is pretty handy, so you don't run your batteries down. You have your mode selection right here. This is light plus IR pointer, and the light is going to be either white or IR, like I said, depending on what cap you have in there. So light plus IR pointer, as you can see, you can't see that with the naked eye, but when you look at the front of it, this IR illuminator and the pointer, they aren't quite what I'm used to. This is very visible with the naked eye. If you shine it at yourself, or even kind of from the side, you can tell that this is a pretty bright red light. In the darkness, if you're in a dark room, you can shine this at a wall and actually kind of see with your naked eye if you hold like a foot away or so. So it's actually pretty bright. If you start shining this around, you're not going to be doing any stealthy stuff because it looks like a dim red light. Plus, if you look at the footage that I'll toss up of me shining around with the Aurora, the color night vision, it comes off in as a red illuminator. It's kind of weird. It's not what I'm used to really with IR illuminators, which come off as like a bluish tinge but fairly white. This is definitely a dark red hue, which is kind of annoying. It doesn't have great throw either. I think that's due to the fact that the light's having to push through this really dark cap, so you're not really going to get much illumination out of this unless you're just in a dark room or something like that. And even still, it's going to flood it with the red light. So the next mode up is an off, just nothing's going to happen there. Then you have just the light by itself. Then you have the visible pointer. It has some pretty decent throw, so this red laser can shine a pretty good ways. But my main problem with it is that it's not very concentric. It kind of has some splatter with it around the edges. The next mode is the light plus visible lasers. So if you decided to take the cap off the end, you would have just a laser light combo. My main concern with getting this was, first off, there weren't many reviews out there, so I didn't really quite know what I was getting into. But with it being made for airsoft, I wasn't sure if it could handle the recoil of an actual firearm, which is why I decided to put it on a 22, which I thought it may have been good enough for that. But I didn't get to test that because the windage doesn't do anything. It's about a foot too far to the left at 5 yards, and that's as max as it can go to the right. I can crank this thing all the way out to the right, and it moves the laser like 3 MOA to the right and doesn't come anywhere near the actual 0, and there's nothing you can do to get the laser over there. So overall, I'd say it's just kind of for looks, almost like obviously it's meant for airsoft, but I would have expected it to at least have a little bit more functionality to be able to be used, because I don't even see how you could aim an airsoft gun with this, because it just flat out doesn't work. It won't even come near 0. These turrets themselves can be moved really easily, and I doubt that even if I was able to zero it, that it would have retained at 0, because this thing feels nice, hefty, and solid, but the real weak point on it seems to be the adjustments right here. So there's my overall impression. I'd say that if you're wanting to make a clone rifle, airsoft gun, something like that, and you just want to have something to sit on there as a placeholder to kind of look cool, yeah, this thing definitely looks cool. But if you want it to actually function in any capacity, then you're probably going to have to find something else.